Peekaboo! Did you see it? Now it's gone. Camouflage is truly a marvelous phenomenon. It allows animals to hide from deadly predators or stalk their prey from dangerously close, waiting for the perfect moment to lunge, snatch, or strike. For some creatures, camouflage is the only advantage they have over all others, and the very key to their survival on this planet. Even human militaries have borrowed the art of camouflage to gain an edge over the enemy. But no one does it better than nature itself. Are you ready to meet the true masters of disguise? Today, we're counting down 10 sneaky camouflage animals you'd never notice. Number 10, the Vietnamese mossy frog. If you ever wander through the damp crevices of Vietnam's rainforests, chances are your eyes would pass right over this creature without even knowing it was there. At first glance, it looks like nothing more than a lifeless clump of moss clinging to wet stone. But look a little closer, and you might notice a pair of glowing red eyes slowly emerging from the water, watching your every move. This is the Vietnamese mossy frog, a true master of disguise that even the most seasoned explorers struggle to spot. With bumpy skin covered in tiny tubercles, odd black spots, and rough green textures, its body melts perfectly into the mossy forest floor. Even if you stare directly at it, your brain insists it's just part of the scenery. But this camouflage isn't just about hiding from predators. It's also the frog's secret weapon for hunting. As large insects and fat crickets creep too close, the patch of moss suddenly springs to life. In a lightning-fast strike, it snatches its prey, revealing the predator that was hiding in plain sight all along. There is nothing more unsettling than a creature that can vanish before your very eyes, until the moment it decides to attack. Number 9, the Malaysian leaf insect. Deep within the dense tropical forests of Malaysia lives a true master of disguise, the giant Malaysian leaf insect. These tiny titans spend their lives high in the forest canopy, feeding on the leaves of tropical fruit trees, all while going completely unnoticed by the hungry beaks of predatory birds. Their strange bodies create the perfect illusion of a leaf rather than an insect, a flattened, widened abdomen paired with leaf-like plates extending from their legs. Even though they appear to be 99% leaf and only 1% insect, disappearing from sight is no small feat, especially when they can grow up to 4 inches long. Hats off to the incredible camouflage of the Malaysian leaf insect. But if you want to meet a true master of disguise, stay tuned for number 1, where a gecko will take camouflage to an entirely new level. Number 8, the pink pygmy seahorse. Think your eyes are sharp enough? Take a look at that coral reef. Do you see the seahorse? What about now? Hard to believe, but hidden in plain sight is the pink pygmy seahorse, one of the ocean's greatest masters of camouflage. Seahorses as a family have been around for over 20 million years, yet these tiny creatures are so good at hiding that humans didn't even know they existed. In fact, scientists only stumbled upon them about 50 years ago, when they brought coral into a lab and discovered the little hitchhikers clinging tightly to the branches. And here's the shocking part. These animals measure just 2 centimeters long, smaller than a paperclip. But their camouflage doesn't stop at pink. One diver once discovered an entire swarm of yellow pygmy seahorses perfectly blending into pale yellow coral, suggesting these creatures can adapt their colors to match the very corals they call home. Tiny, nearly invisible, and armed with one of the most astonishing disguises in the natural world, the pink pygmy seahorse proves that sometimes the greatest secrets of nature are hiding right before our eyes. Number 7. The great rockfish. At first glance, you might think this is just an ordinary rock resting on the ocean floor. But look closer, because at any moment, that rock could leap to life and swallow its prey whole. This is the great rockfish, one of the ocean's deadliest masters of camouflage. These predators can lie perfectly still for hours, blending seamlessly into sand and stone, waiting for an unsuspecting victim to wander too close. And then, in a split second, their enormous mouths snap open, inhaling the prey with terrifying speed. But the danger doesn't stop there. Lined along their backs are venomous spines, ready to inject excruciating poison into anything unlucky enough to touch them. While not usually fatal, their close relative, the infamous stonefish, carries a venom so deadly it can kill a grown human in less than an hour. A hidden assassin, a dangerous trap, and yet a prized catch. Number 6. The leafy sea dragon. Hidden among the swaying kelp forests of southern Australia lives a creature so strange, so otherworldly, that most divers mistake it for nothing more than a drifting piece of seaweed. This is the leafy sea dragon, a living illusion. With leaf-like appendages sprouting from every part of its body, it disappears seamlessly into the algae and seagrass beds it calls home. Although it looks a lot like a seahorse, studies reveal it's actually more closely related to pipefish. And unlike the ambush predator rockfish, the leafy sea dragon is a terrible swimmer. Its camouflage isn't just clever, it's the only thing keeping it alive. Hovering gently in the water, it feeds on tiny plankton and crustaceans, sipping them up while staying hidden in plain sight. A fragile creature, yet an undisputed master of disguise in the vast Australian seas. Number 5. The eastern screech owl. In the silence of the forest, you might think you're just staring at a patch of rough bark. But look closer. Those lines, those shadows, are they really wood, or are they eyes watching you? This is the eastern screech owl, a true master of disguise. With mottled gray and brown feathers, it melts perfectly into tree trunks, broken branches, and even hollow cavities where it rests during the day. Sometimes, it stays motionless for hours, posing as nothing more than a dead limb, until even its piercing eyes fade into the texture of the wood, leaving no trace behind. Silent, invisible, and endlessly patient, this tiny owl is the ghost of the forest. The question is, if you walked past one today, would you even notice? Number 4. The mountain hare. There's an old saying, if you see a polar bear, it's probably already too late. Luckily, that doesn't apply to the mountain hare. But like the mighty polar bear, this creature has its own survival trick, an immaculate white coat that lets it vanish into the snowy backdrop. If not for its dark, glistening eyes, you might never notice it at all, until you're standing right beside it. And for good reason. Unlike polar bears, mountain hares aren't fearsome hunters. They're prey. A vital food source for golden eagles, wildcats, and countless other predators. Yet the greatest threat they face isn't from the wild. It's from us. In many mountain regions, these fragile animals are hunted for sport, sometimes killed not for food, but for pleasure. A gentle creature, a vital link in the food chain, and still, a master of camouflage in the frozen wilderness. Number 3. The dead leaf butterfly. Sometimes, when a predator is just too fast, too deadly to escape, the smartest thing to do is to play dead. But this butterfly takes the strategy to an entirely new level. It has evolved to look like a dead leaf. Known as the orange oak leaf or the Indian oak leaf, this extraordinary species is found across tropical Asia, from India all the way to Japan. And here's where the illusion becomes unbelievable. With its wings closed, the butterfly looks exactly like a dry, fallen leaf. Every detail is there, the muted brown color, the dark veins, even spots that mimic decay. To the untrained eye, and even to sharp-eyed predators, it's nearly impossible to tell the difference. A living insect, hiding in plain sight, disguised as nothing more than forest litter, this is nature's ultimate camouflage artist. Number 2. The sand crab. Meet the sand crab, a creature no bigger than a human thumb and nearly impossible to spot. Most of its life is spent buried beneath shifting sands, its gray shell blending so perfectly that you'd honestly have a better chance of finding a needle in a haystack than finding one of these. Like other crabs, they can burrow quickly, then lie still beneath the surface. Their heavily armored, curved bodies and sharp legs help them stay balanced as the tides push and pull around them. At first glance, it seems like nature gave them an unfair advantage, camouflage skills that border on invisibility. But here's the catch. It's all a trade-off. Unlike other crabs, sand crabs can only move backward. And even stranger, they have no claws on their first pair of legs. For a crab, that's not just unusual, it's a serious drawback. So the question is, would you give up your claws if it meant you could all but vanish into the sand? Number 1. The leaf-tailed gecko. At last, it's time to meet what may be the greatest camouflage artist on Earth, the official-tailed gecko. Can you see it? Or has it already vanished before your eyes? These eerie, almost satanic-looking lizards are found only on the island of Madagascar, and they come in every shade of leaf imaginable: green, brown, even fiery orange. Their most famous feature is, of course, the leaf-like tail, but that's only the beginning. Leaf-tailed geckos can shift their colors to match their surroundings, and their bodies are lined with delicate fringes that allow them to press flat against bark or leaves, erasing their outline entirely. One moment they're there, the next they're gone. Nothing but forest debris. Silent, motionless, and nearly invisible, these geckos embody nature's ultimate disappearing act. With all their tricks combined, the leaf-tailed gecko earns the crown as the #1 master of disguise on the planet.